Hey guys, welcome to Bastion Time. I am your host Bastion. This is Nintendo News. Let's get to that news. First of all, an interview with Mr. AONUMA revealed all kinds of interesting facts about Breath of the Wild. Chiefly that he had so many ideas for Breath of the Wild that he couldn't possibly fit into the game, so he said he's saving a bunch of these ideas for the next Zelda game, which would be especially pertinent if, according to another quote from him, that they are considering reusing the same engine that they've created for Breath of the Wild to quickly put out another Zelda game on the Switch like a year or two later. Then he can utilize all of these ideas that he had created. He did say, however, that some of the ideas were just so outlandish that he scrapped them, but I wonder what those could possibly be. Maybe those ideas will appear in Breath of the Wild. For instance, if we think about Majora's Mask, a lot of the ideas that created Majora's Mask were ideas that were meant to be used in Ocarina of Time, but were cancelled for Ocarina of Time, so they used some of these ideas for Majora's Mask, which is a very different game from Ocarina of Time. Sure, it looks identical to Ocarina of Time, and the gameplay is awfully similar, but it is a very different game. It's very polarizing, too, but we won't get into that. The point is, what if some of these ideas are things that are just as extremely different from Breath of the Wild as Majora's Mask is from Ocarina of Time? That would be amazing. We'd have two very different Zelda games for the Switch back to back. That would be super cool. Our next story just amused me because I don't understand the point of it, but a game that's being released for Steam has a soundtrack for the game coming out on the NES. What? None of that makes any sense. I mean, first of all, it would be one thing if this game was coming out for like the 3DS or the Switch or the Wii U or something, but it's not. It's just coming out on Steam. But the soundtrack for it, because it's an 8-bit style game, is coming out as an NES cartridge. I don't understand why. That's so... I mean... I've got a lot of hipster friends. I live in Portland. If you didn't know that about me, I live in Portland, Oregon, and I'm surrounded by hipsters, and I'm fine with that. I love hipsters. I'm not a hipster, at least I don't think I am, but I have a lot of hipster friends, so I bet so many of my friends... I can think of one friend in particular that would think this is the coolest idea ever, but I think it's the least practical idea ever, because... First of all, who even buys soundtracks to games anymore? We want it digitally. We don't want a physical thing that we have to import into our... How do you even import an NES cartridge thing into your computer, into your iTunes or whatever, to then be able to have on your smartphone or your whatever? Like, it just is dumb. I mean, it's a cute, clever idea, but it's just dumb in my opinion. But what do I know? Apparently nothing. Our next story is, well, actually, let's skip that one and let's go to the next one first, because that one will have a spoiler. So this is like a pre-warning that there will be a spoiler, but not for this next story. It'll be for the last story. So anyways, that story is a very silly Breath of the Wild fan-made commercial that's made in an old-school style, like something you might have seen during the NES or SNES era. It's pretty amusing. Yeah, it's pretty amusing. I would recommend watching it just for the heck of it once or something. If you want to check it out, there's a link down there for you. And now this is the spoiler story, and I have had some experience lately with some of you guys feeling that sometimes a couple of my videos have had things in them that you felt were spoilers, even though I didn't think they were spoilers, because they're coming from official Nintendo sources, and I can't believe that Mr. AONUMA or Mr. Miyamoto would give anything away that they felt was a spoiler, so I felt like if they're saying this in an interview, it's a-okay to talk about, but I guess some of you have other opinions on that, and I totally respect that. So if you don't want to know even something that's, in my opinion, not a spoiler, but something that's a tiny little spoilery, you can say goodbye to me now, and I'll see you tomorrow for the next video. So I'll give you a moment to go away. Are you gone? Okay, so we know for sure now, supposedly, according to this quote, that Breath of the Wild takes place after Ocarina of Time. I mean, that goes without saying, so that's why I didn't think it was a spoiler. There was no way this game was taking place before Ocarina of Time, but now we know for sure that it does take place after Ocarina of Time. Duh? But I guess Mr. Miyamoto, no, it was Mr. AONUMA, felt it was very important to clarify that. But again, this actually isn't necessarily true, because there's a way that you can read what Mr. AONUMA said to mean that he's not really saying it takes place before Ocarina of Time, just that he feels he's surpassed Ocarina of Time with this game. He didn't really come right out with saying anything specific about the timeline placement, at least not when I quickly skimmed through the story. So you read it if you want to and let me know whether I'm totally wrong and he does clearly specify it takes place after Ocarina of Time. Let me know down in the comments, but anyways, yeah, of course it takes place after Ocarina of Time. I don't think there was a single person who thought that it took place before it, so I don't know. But I felt it was best to just preface that with spoiler tag, because some people are kind of sensitive to that. But anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow for more news. Bye, guys.